Everyone, welcome back to my channel. So at this point we are going to start looking into the gateway services, so stay tuned. So I will start off with the dependencies in the gateway service. So we've got the gateway service, and then we are in the pom.xml file, and the Java version is 23, and this is what you need. You need Spring Cloud Starter config. You need the Spring Cloud Starter gateway, Spring Cloud Starter Netflix Eureka client, Spring Boot Starter. Well, when you add the Spring Boot starter config, you should get the Spring Boot starter test added automatically. Otherwise, you may want to add it manually. Zipkin Reporter Brave. When you add that one, you should be able to. It should automatically add Spring Boot starter actuator and the micrometer tracing bridge Brave. If not, then you're gonna have to do it manually, because I think I ended up doing some of them manually. And then the most important thing that you really need here is the Spring Boot Starter OS2 resources server. Spring Boot Starter OS2 resource server. Okay, so once you've got that, then you may use the spring.open API starter web MVC UI. And I think the reason why I added this one here is because I want to get all the other services, the Open API documentation, get all the services in here. And because all the configuration of the services is in this service, the gateway, I added this, but I haven't got it working yet, and I will work on it still. Spring Boot Open API Starter Web MVC API. You need that one. Then you need JJWT API, IMPL, JJWT Jackson, Postgres SQL, Lombok. Okay, and then you need this. It says OX Arch 64, and there was a certain error, and this is the when I dig deeper, I found that I needed to add that. So just pause it, and if you do need it, then you might want to add it to your dependency. Is netty resolver DNS and native Mac OS. So this is if you have Mac, and then sometimes you get this failure, right? And when I search for it, if you have the M1 or M2, I've got M2 chip, and sometimes you get this error because I upgraded my Mac OS, right, to the latest version, and you get this failure with Spring Boot. When I did research, this is the answer I got, and that fixed the problem. Maybe in the near future I can take a look at I can comment it out and see what sort of error it is, and then you can just use it in case you get that error, right? But for now, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna carry on. Let's carry on with the rest of the work to the config, security config. Okay, so the annotation for my one is enabled workflows security. Then we are also annotating it with require argument constructor and configuration. Require argument configuration, and then this is where we state all the list of free resources, and this is how I'm doing it. So I've got private static final string, array of a string, and then we got the public endpoints reference, and then we say we list all the arrays where we've got API /v1 version 1 products, get products. So get products, I want it to be a free resource because I don't want the user to log in order to see all the products. This is not that type of system. And then the products ID. So this is when we do a search, right? So you might use the product ID to search, but you don't need to log in to do that. Okay. Also, we might do a normal test search. You don't need product ID to do this. And then there are the swaggers and all that stuff which I'm enabling it here. So I'm saying that swagger URL HTML version 3 API docs and all that stuff, but we will see this in the gateway application.yml file in the config server. We will see what I mean by that, and we need that configuration. The method that I've got here is at bin. I'm saying the public security web filter change, we are passing on the server HTTP security reference, and then that reference we say .csrf. I went through research for this to work, so this is how it works for me. I might leave a comment if you think you are wrong. Okay. Server HTTP security .csrf spec disables. So this is when you go into, let's say, the client, and then it says client block cause whatever. That's what that is referring to, but I will look into that more. At the moment I don't need to. We say authorized exchange, Lambda exchange, then we say path. We say all these public points, allow them. All these public points, allow them. Okay. When there is a post, however, when there is a post, mark as bot. This is another method which we haven't have a look at, but don't worry about it. So it's in the products. We're saying, hey, authenticate this one. Okay. The same thing that there's another method which isn't exactly the ones up here. It's a different method which is a put. When we do an update, you see this one is a get. This method is a get. This one is a put. When we update that bit, when we update a product with using the product ID, that person needs to be authenticated because it might not be the product you registered, right? So you need to be authenticated. And then we are saying the OAuth to resource server OAuth Lambert OAuth.jwt token Lambert token JWT authentication converter new keycloak JWT authentication converter, and it's a class. Okay. And then we are returning the server HTTP security.build. That's the information I got. Okay. Now that JWT keycloak class is basically this one, which is right at the top here, and this class is how we are managing our keycloak stuff, right? So we say keycloak JWT authentication converter implements. If you don't get this right, you get an error. Implements converter JWT upstart authentication token, right? And I am going to show you how we are getting all this information. If I could, I think the server is running, so all we have to do is keycloak is running. So I'm gonna take the token of this user. So in order to get the token of this user, we have to pass on the client ID, the client tab username, password, and client secret. Remember, we've gone through this already. and these are the values that we are passing to it. Yeah, keycloak is running because we've got the Docker Compose app. So we got, now it gives us a token, the access token. We just copy it, and I'm going to get JWT token, and I'm gonna bring it here so you can see. And in the JWT token, we just copy that access token and put it here. We're just gonna take a look at what it is that we've got here. This is what the user has, right? This is all about the user, and the bit that we are is a barrier token type. This is the client, Ocean client, that is for the backend. That's the client for the backend, so that is correct. And the resource node, the resource access node, resource access node. For that resource access node, we are going all the way down to, we want account and rows as well. Account and rows. And then remember that we are dragging a whole lot of the user. This is the user details we need. This is why we don't need a user detail account and use a service of a user. It's all managed in keycloak. Let's go back. Did we? Okay, yeah. So those are the references, the resource access, and we've written it exactly as it is. So when you are writing it, make sure you copy, like this one, resource access, just copy and paste. Okay, account rows, you don't want to write row when you need rows. Okay, go back. Okay, so I think that's what it is for that one. I am going to have to end the video here, and we will pick it up in the next video. I've just run out of time. Guys, do subscribe and like my videos, comment. It helps me learn a lot. It tells me if I'm on the right track or not. I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you.